Part of the biggest violence of colonialism, besides the theft of our resources, the theft of our people, was the theft of our esteem, like the theft of our humanity. And so we forget that we are capable, we forget that we are able, we forget that we existed before. And these things that were taken from us were then kind of like rewritten or redesigned, and then now, so even whatever we think we're coping from them, sometimes when you look back, we can trace it back to ourselves. So it's just that this part of our reality was taken away from us, and when there's a vacuum, it's filled up with things. So unfortunately, it got filled up by their ideas, or by our ideas of their ideas of progress. My name is Emmaus Kimani. I'm an artist, curator. I am very interested in artistic practices, in what we do and how it influences our identities. I think about artists as like modern-day anthropologists. They're documenting the evolution of culture and people, and these notes, these documentations, it's so sad if they disappear, If we think about archaeological work, it's digging and trying to find traces of the things that are being dug. And I always think, if we didn't bury anything, will there be anything to be uncovered? I found myself working a lot now with museum entities, and we've had a lot of conversations around repatriation, decolonizing knowledges. And I was part of the MLab in 2023, and there I met Dr. Njabulo Chipangura, and we saw an opportunity. The British Council posted a grant. It was a catalyst grant to begin dialogue with UK partners. So it was between Nairobi, Kenyan and UK partners. What we proposed was to do provenance research on objects from he was a missionary who lived between Kenya and, more in Uganda, but his collection was kind of captured the whole of East Africa. So we wanted to look at things that he collected and see if we can find out who they belong to. And then a lot of the things, the way they are in storage, some of them only have Africa written as a tag, and Provenance Africa. Then another thing that we discovered was the ones that had proper labels, that had more data on them, some of them were also incorrect. Some of these objects that we selected were then photographed. We printed them in large scale so that people could see. To see the beauty, to see the height of our craftsmanship, to see how brilliant we were in whatever things we carved. It's very clear in these objects. The exhibition, we have it as a sort of interaction with the public to invite them to the provenance research. So if you identify an object, tell us what it is, say it in your mother tongue. If you know for a fact that that's what it is, leave us your contact. We could use, so we can reference you, and so that we can use this new information and add it onto the reference. And provenance research can be the beginning of possible returns. So what we do next is we take the work from the exhibition space and we move it to local communities. So we have 3 regions that we're going to take the work to see if people there can identify them. So it's very important for the people who might know better than us to find space to participate. I was very impressed and inspired by how people engaged with the work, and now I appreciate how important it is. And I mean, there are a lot of young people. I wish there were more, but there were so many young people who asked a lot of questions. So in our program, we thought we would share our thoughts in maybe 15 minutes and then maybe invite people for another 15 minutes. But people could not stop talking. People could not stop engaging. People could not stop asking questions. I mean, that to me is very exciting, to just show our existence before colonialism, to validate our brilliance and our humanity, and maybe if we can find more of such things or such knowledges about ourselves, we can curate our futures better individually, and not always, I feel like sometimes we're always looking out or comparing ourselves to the West or to this other world powers. We have very different realities, and we should make our realities based on, we should make our future based on our realities.
My name is Nerima Mahondo. I'm a performance artist and overall multidisciplinary artist. All in all, one of the big things that really struck me was that I felt very implicated, self-implicated really, because I didn't know the names of many of these things, even if I've seen them and I've grown up with them, like especially the musical instruments. I was telling Emmaus, one of the curators, that I have been around those instruments for the longest time, but I only know their English names, you know, and I only know the way they look. Some of them I don't even know the names, and it felt very shameful. I feel I experienced a bit of shame for not knowing the names. I've experienced a bit of shame for only knowing maximum the Kiswahili names, and we know that Kiswahili is a lingua franca, you know, so not knowing the indigenous names, not knowing where they come from, I'm just like, this seems or feels Nilotic, you know, like the headdress in the back and the kikos, the smoking things. And so I'm glad that they put this work, and I'm glad that they have it here, and I'm really looking forward to people who actually know to come and tell us the names and the locations of where they're from, so that we can begin to situate these knowledges where they actually came from.
What stood out for me for this exhibition was how engaged people were to the rage, the emotion, the anger. So it's important for young people to see this exhibition, especially the ones who are creative. And it's good that it's being held at a creative space, so even the conversations can be led with curiosity. What can you create that is sparked by, you know, the objects that you're seeing? Sometimes we don't know how important it is to like see a representation of you and of your culture until you see it and you're like, it's important for you to live the way that you're living, or to have the questions that you're asking.
I would like us to know the importance of memorializing ourselves and our practices, just so that we don't have to go and borrow things in the future again. You know, like, how do we appreciate our artists today? How do we appreciate what they produce today? But now I'm also thinking about how the past is influencing our now and our future. Like, it's quite scary and it's quite broad, and it's but I think I'm now much more open to this reality, to this as another branch of my practice.